In 2010, in a tiny room, a young man named Bhavish Aggarwal gives his first ever investor presentation for a tiny cab startup, totally unaware that in the next 12 years, he would go from working as a driver in his startup to being called the Elon Musk of India.
We're not just a plain vanilla website. We really focus very hard on giving you a great end-to-end experience.
I can't keep up with the number of businesses you're running now. There's
It's only one called
Ola Money, Ola Cafe, Ola Boat.
He would be the king of EVs and one of the youngest self-made billionaires. But why did he suddenly turn into a villain for the media and his employees, with people calling him the next Byju? This is the story of India's most ambitious entrepreneur. Bhavish Aggarwal quit his job, borrowed money from his wife, and launched Ola Cabs in 2010, where you could magically book a ride on your phone anywhere in the city. His passion and aggression convinced investors to load him with money, so he started burning on customer discounts and driver incentives. Suddenly, lakhs of people flocked to Ola for free cab rides, while drivers started making over 1 lakh rupees a month through incentives. People were taking cars on EMIs just to run multiple cabs for Ola. But then his nightmare began. Uber saw the enormous potential and entered India 3 years after Ola, and it started using the same strategy. So a bloody price war started, both of them burning crows to outbid each other. But it was Bhavish who emerged victorious. Ola became India's biggest taxi app by 2015. However, his happiness was very short-lived. After burning billions of dollars, investors started pressurizing him to show profits. And he had no option but to submit to their demands. The party was over. The free rides were gone and drivers' incentives vanished. But that still wasn't enough. So he started cutting deeper, replacing rider discounts with surge pricing, while commissions charged to drivers increased by almost 5 times. Ola's drivers were suddenly left gasping for air and their income reduced to barely 30,000 rupees. Deep down, Bhavish hated it. After years of sleepless nights building Ola from nothing for Indians, his decisions were directly affecting the same Indians. But crushed under investor expectations, he marched on, and he thought it was time to reap the profits. But he had no idea that his strategy would backfire terribly. Even after this cost cutting and burning billions of dollars, Ola was still not able to make any profit. And that was when it finally dawned on him. The cab hailing business was fundamentally unprofitable and Ola cabs may never turn a profit. But he couldn't just admit defeat. So he tried several alternative businesses in the next months. Ola Cafe for food delivery in 2015, the acquisition of the struggling food delivery app Food Panda in 2017, Ola Cars for buying and selling used cars, Ola Money for digital wallets, and Ola Dash for grocery delivery. At one point, he even started Ola's pizza brand, and he thought something would click, but all of them were failures, and none come even close to being as big as the core cab hailing business. So many public failures would make anyone question their decisions. He was almost ready to give up and admit defeat. But that was when he finally saw a ray of hope. One of those experiments was Ola Electric, which bet on the upcoming EV market of India. Bhavish thought this was going to be the next big thing because it was 9 times bigger than the ride-hailing business. And he felt confident enough to make a big pivot. He actually believed that India could lead the world in EVs and he wanted to be the one to do it for his country. So in 2019, he risked his entire reputation for that dream. He separated Ola Electric as a new company where he owned the majority, and he decided he would dominate India's EV industry. But there was one problem. He had no idea how to make an electric vehicle. However, he was running out of time and couldn't build it from scratch. So he unknowingly set out on a path that would ultimately lead to his downfall. Since he was short on time, he acquired a European e-scooter company named Itergo in May 2020. And then he made a shocking announcement. Ola Electric was going to deliver its first S1 scooter series in October 2021, less than 18 months after acquiring Itergo. But that was not all. He came up with a clever strategy where he marketed the S1 scooter to Ola Cab's 1.25 crore users at virtually zero cost. He created a lot of hype around his scooters, and his strategy paid off. He received over 1 lakh reservations for the scooter within 24 hours of opening the bookings. Investors and the media started worshipping him, as Ola's electric scooters were a hit even before they were launched. People started calling him the Elon Musk of India. And it wasn't just because of his ambition, it was the way he could make people believe in his vision. The right kind of clarity in communication can completely change how others see your ideas. And if you want to communicate your ideas just as clearly, you can try a tool that I also use, Quillbot. It is an AI-powered tool built built to help you write smarter, faster, and more confidently. But the most fascinating part is how easily it integrates with your workflow. With the Quillbot Chrome extension, you can refine your writing anywhere, in Gmail, Google Docs, or even on LinkedIn without ever breaking your flow. Its grammar checker ensures every sentence is polished, clear, and professional. But that's not all. Other than acting as your grammar assistant, Quillbot also has a paraphraser that instantly rephrases your ideas. And you can also turn a single line of text into complete and professional emails, so you always sound more natural and impactful. However, the best feature of Quillbot is its humanizer. It can help you make AI generated text sound completely authentic, like it was written by you from the start. So whether you're drafting an email, preparing a report, or polishing content, Quillbot helps you express your thoughts with clarity and confidence. Try it now using the link below. Now, Bhavish had no idea that in just a few months, those same people were going to turn him into a villain. When Bhavish started Ola Electric in 2019, he was driven by an insane urgency. He wanted to become the global EV leader as quickly as possible because constant investor calls and the fear of failure demanded breakneck speed. In his head, he had no other choice. So in a mix of ambition, ego, and investor pressure, he started picking speed over everything else. He laid out ambitious targets, like creating India's biggest EV and cell factories, and even claiming that petrol two-wheelers will vanish from India by 2025. However, the on-ground reality was quite different. When he acquired Itergo in 2020, it only had a prototype scooter made for Europe. So a lot of research was needed to adapt it to the tough Indian climate and roads, and then test it to eliminate bugs and safety issues. This should have taken months. Then setting up a factory from zero to make thousands of e-scooters every month ideally should have taken over a year. But Bhavish was consumed by urgency. He had declared he would launch the S1 scooters in just 18 months, an unrealistic deadline. And the biggest victims of his unreal deadlines turned out to be his employees.
I don't think work-life balance is the right construct, and again, it's a contrarian view. There will be people who will disagree with me. Many people will disagree with me.
Several reports came out later about the hostile and toxic work culture at Ola. Unplanned meetings at 1 AM in the night, employees getting fired for taking planned leaves, and 14-hour work days 7 days a week. It was like running a marathon like Usain Bolt. But even after grinding his employees, the results were anything but satisfactory. After a small delay in the delivery of the S1 scooters, they were finally launched in December. And that was when Bhavish's nightmare began. Ola Electric was flooded with customer complaints. A number of promised features were missing. Customers reported that the battery failed in the middle of the road, the handle randomly locked on its own, and the display froze. Some scooters even caught fire on their own, and their videos went viral on social media. Ola Electric was getting 80,000 customer complaints every month. However, he had put all the money into sales, with limited investment in service centers for after-sales support. So Ola Electric had fewer than 500 service centers, which were not able to handle this flood of complaints. Those centers became graveyards, and at the center of this hate was Bhavish Aggarwal. The same media that glorified him a few months ago now turned him into a villain. But the real chaos actually unfolded inside the company, where things went from bad to worse. Other than the tons of complaints, Ola Electric was still behind schedule on software updates and deliveries. So Bhavish became frustrated when he couldn't meet the unrealistic deadlines and then took it out on his employees. He couldn't understand why no one else was taking it as seriously as he did. The pressure to deliver meant there was no way he could slow down now. He started losing his temper very quickly, with claims of him tearing up presentations, getting angry about grammar or the paper quality, and calling employees useless right on their faces. Mint reported that he asked an employee to run 3 laps of the huge future factory just because he left a gate shut that was supposed to be open. People called him egoistic, but what outsiders saw as ego was the only way he thought he could build something monumental from scratch. It was the price to be paid for greatness. But he didn't realize it was going to make his journey even lonelier. Suddenly, he became impossible to work with for most people. In 2019, his co-founder shocked him and left the company. His chief business officer resigned within 8 months of joining in 2020, while several top executives continued to exit. The employee exit rate at Ola Electric was 4 times the industry average. However, what happened next confused most people. Despite these fires on the inside, he pulled off a mind-boggling win on the outside. Bhavish went on to destroy his competition. Ola's market share continued to increase month after month, if you set aside the complaints. Ola Electric was riding on a very strong sales momentum because Bhavish had got a lot of things right. Ola's marketing and hype were better than everyone else. He also managed to build the biggest EV factory in India. His costs were lower and availability was higher. Coupled with the government subsidies, Ola scooters were significantly cheaper than other e-scooters. In fact, the prices were almost at par with some of the petrol two-wheelers in the market, while petrol costs continued to climb. So people didn't care about the work culture at Ola. They saw Ola scooters as affordable, stylish, and futuristic. futuristic. Its market share reached an all-time high of almost 50% by April 2024. He announced a range of new S1 scooters, an electric bike for 2025, and even plans for an electric car. And then he made the biggest decision of his life. Ola Electric went public with an IPO in August 2024, and the rise to greatness continued. Within 10 days of listing, Ola Electric's share price skyrocketed and doubled. It looked like Bhavish actually knew what he was doing, and his reportedly toxic way was the right way to get things done. Ola Electric was the king of the market and an investor favorite in 2024. However, he had no idea that the ghosts of his past were about to come back and haunt him. Ola Electric's biggest advantage was that it moved fast and it moved big. So legacy players like TVS, Bajaj, and Hero were caught by surprise. The only real competition to Ola Electric was from Ather, a startup that didn't have deep pockets and sold its scooters at a premium price. That's why people didn't really have a choice except for Ola's S1 scooters. But then things started changing. The legacy players realized the potential and scaled up aggressively by 2024. They already had a better dealer network, service reliability, and established trust. So once they launched competing products, it was all over. Ola continued to focus on speed and selling more scooters instead of fixing the issues of their existing customers. And the customers finally ran out of patience. They started choosing alternatives as soon as they were available. Ola Electric's market share went into a free fall, dropping to just about 20% by May 2025. Its sales have almost halved since last year as trusted legacy players continue to capture the market. So it reported a loss of over 2200 crores last year, and its share price was down 70% from its peak. He continues to claim that the turnaround is just around the corner, while allegations of a toxic work culture continue. Top executives are quitting within weeks of joining. Ola had a golden opportunity to build trust as the first mover, but he lost it. He went from an ambitious young entrepreneur fixing India's cabs to a cornered CEO facing his empire's cracks. He did not lose to competitors. He lost to the customers he ignored. Please hit subscribe if you made it this far. That helps me a lot. If you liked this video, I recommend watching this one next. Until I see you in the next video, goodbye.